And we're back, I think. Are we back there, Twitch? Are we back?
I hope.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Okay, unfortunately, we've lost one very beautiful woman for one sort of semi-good looking
Hey!
red mage. Actually, this is actually good timing too, because in this latter part, we're gonna end up talking about one of his favorite games. But right now, I don't think we mentioned this one previously, but some of you might know the name SteamWorld Dig, which it was a surprise hit in 2013. It was released first on the Nintendo 3DS and then later to Steam. It's a side-scrolling rogue-lite mining platformer, which apparently did really, really well. Well, they now have a sequel, and it's called SteamWorld Heist. Now, we have a short teaser-type trailer. Let me just cue it up here just so, we get the right thing going. There we go. It's not very long, and it's really, I don't know. To me, it's one of those irritating ones. But here you go. We'll have a quick look at it and see what you think. They had me there until they got to the side scroller part. I'm out.
I was gonna say, I've got SteamWorld Dig up here on my 2DS. And I need to catch up.
This would help if I turn the volume up on it too, right?
If I remember to pop in.
Anyway, that is basically all you saw there was the ship coming into, I guess, the space station and grappling, and then I guess all hell breaks loose. Like I said, they had me art style wise right up until that point. Like that panoramic view and the ship coming in. I liked the art style. It looked like it could have been fun, and then they went right into the side scroller, and I'm out. I'm done. What did you guys think of it?
I didn't see it. Didn't
That
have
wasn't
the
enough
window
for me
ready.
to be able to gauge anything.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the video later on to get a full opinion, but I think just from what I'm reading on it, it sounds interesting. Just it's more of a tactical thing than it is like the side scroller, dig your way through and upgrade yourself to keep going. But I don't know. I agree with you on the art style though, because it's definitely a little more styled than even SteamWorld Dig was.
Yeah. Again, it's Muskoka. Yeah, the snow's going, man. The snow is finally going. I can't believe it. It's so nice to be able to walk down the sidewalk without having to take, a pickaxe with you to chop away at the ice. But yeah, I'm not seeing much in this game that's going to attract me to it. But hey, I'm sure there are people out there that will enjoy it, especially if you like 2D side scrollers. The reviews I've read of it so far, it's set for an August release on both 3DS and Steam. So that's when you'll be able to get your hands on it. But yeah, more. Yeah, let's do the Terraria now to make Mr. Red Mage happy. Terraria Otherworld is basically what, Terraria 2?
1.5, I would say. It's supposed to be the kind of filler in between Terraria 1 and 2. It's like an alternate universe type thing.
Now you're our Terraria man, so I will let you speak on this video, which is for Terraria Otherworld, and apparently now it has like tower defense in it. So it's definitely Terraria.
Yeah, with the graphic overhaul.
Yeah, with the graphical overhaul, it stands a much better chance of getting me into it.
Wow, there's like dragons there.
And that's it. So, stop. Jesus, jumping for Hosapats. Jumping. God damn. Now, Terraria is not my kind of game. I have seen it streamed enough to know that. But Farrell Landstock said there isn't... what was it? I just want to get this right. It doesn't look quite right.
He says, where are the demonized zombies and whatnot? Well, you really kind of have to look. There's some of the corruption type enemies with these flying worm spiky things. They were in there. It's just they're really quickly shown. But again, like this is more of a alternate universe as opposed to a straight up sequel. So they've taken a little more liberty with different enemies and mobs and NPCs, and the art style is completely different. The one thing I liked about it, and I was showing my buddy G2 earlier, it's like, hey, check this video. They got turrets. So the whole idea is those things that they're standing around, I guess they're called purification towers, where that is, instead of you going out and throwing powder at the world or flamethrowing the world to cleanse it, those are the way you cleanse the world to get rid of the corruption. So that when you do that, you're more likely to be attacked, is what I'm assuming. So you put up the turrets to help defend yourself. Because there's a lot of cases when, I did this even on stream with Terraria, it's like, you can start running in, you got 20 to 30 enemies running after you, and you just can't deal. Like, it's just too much. So that will help with the defense, and it's something different. They're adding a new mechanic, so I'm interested in seeing that work. Again, the art style is just amazing. Like, you saw that the whole crystallized area, it's really bright, vibrant.
See, that's just it. The art style, like, okay, I can appreciate the art style of something like Don't Starve, even though I will never play the game. I don't like the game, but I love the art style. I don't like the art style in Terraria. I just don't. And I'm not sure why I don't like it. It's more of a visceral, feeling of just, I don't like it. When it comes to games credit, how much does your gut feeling of I don't like it come into play? Or do you actually manage to put that aside, do some research on the game, and then make your decision? Or does that first gut feeling sort of stick through?
It tends to stick through, but I do try to validate it, which is what I'm going through with Star Citizen right now. It's like, I want to like it, and I'm trying to find the reasons why, or trying to find something that makes my gut reaction to it invalid, and that I'm just being picky.
What game?
Right.
Here's an interesting question. What game in the past year you had a gut feeling you would like it? You bought the game and you turned around and realized you didn't like it. And I asked the same thing of chat. Here's the question again for chat. And I know we're 30 seconds, delay and whatever. In the past year, what game did you have the strongest gut reaction that made you want to buy it? Like, oh my fucking God, I love that game. I'm buying it. I don't care. Only to later realize that you don't like the game at all.
You know what? This is going to, for some people in chat, it's going to sound weird. Starbound. That was one I got about a couple hours into and then put it down due to PC limitations. Started playing it again with my friend and got a good 10 hours out of it, and then said, you know what? No. Because literally you get to a point where you're just planet hopping and seeing the same things over and over and over again. It just got overly repetitive. I said, screw it. I wasted my money on this.
What about you, Creta?
Trying to debate on which one I would say. And actually, I'll give Beyond Earth the pass on this one. Simply because I do still like it. It just, I got pissed off at it for other reasons, and that still sits sour to my stomach. But the one that I wasn't sure if I would like it, really, but after talking with my friends and everything, I was a bit hyped up for it. Went ahead and bought it. And then only played for about an hour or two. And then I'm like, no, this is not my type of game, period, at all. H1Z1.
Yeah.
I wish I could give them the money back. Hell, I wish I could give them the game back. And I wouldn't even, don't even worry about giving me my money back. Just take the fucking thing away from me.
Yeah, I would have to go with you on that one, because I was really kind of excited for H1Z1, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna get this thing, and I'm gonna, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna have fun, and it's looks like it's gonna be an awesome zombie open world, survival type game, and it's sitting in my library with maybe an hour's worth of play on it, and I've just no interest. Now some of the ones in chat have been rather interesting. We've got Shadow of Mordor, or whatever it's called, Watch Dogs, Lords of the Fallen, NHL 15, see what Stranded Deep, Fallout 3. Well, that's a weird one to
Yeah.
not want to. But yeah,
Arcade.
Arcade. Yeah, that would be. Yeah,
Especially
yes.
if you bought it
I
$100 for it.
Yeah, I didn't count that because I didn't pay anything for it. The one thing I did want to say about Terraria, the other world, comparing the artistic or graphical update to the look is like if you took Final Fantasy 6 or 3, depending on what market you prefer to look at it, is taking the original and shifting it to the new remastered versions they have now, because they're all more cartoon style drawing instead of 16-bit graphics. So that's the only way I can really describe the kind of shift in art.
Yeah. Can a game like, okay, here's the thing. Can a game like Terraria, which is built around the 16-bit graphic idea, or, you know, Starbound, same idea, and a lot of the other pixel art games that are coming, can they survive a shift to a different art style?
I think so. A game like Terraria and like Empty Vials even said, like Terraria is more feature complete in terms of, like, if you compare it directly with Starbound. So there's more stuff to be done. There's more. It's more involved altogether. Yeah. So taking that and shifting the art style, even just a little bit, like they've done, it has enough as a game at a base to carry it over to upgraded graphics. I don't think they'd ever go to a 3D model like Minecraft, and I hope to God they never do, because that would lose the charm of the game and being that 2D landscape.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying changing the basic mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
I'm saying if the art style within that mechanic setup is changed, can a game survive? Like, let's say, for example, you went from a art style, as they seem to be doing with Terraria 1.5 or Otherworld, going to a more cartoony look, which I'm not sure how that bodes well for Terraria 2. Are the fans not going to fight back against that because what they fell in love with is not what they're getting now?
Well, Terraria on its own, even though it is like that 16, 32-bit-ish type look, it still has a touch of cartooniness to it, enough that, like, the carryover to Otherworld is you can see it just kind of get a bit better. This isn't something like going from Ocarina of Time, the Zelda game, and then shifting to Wind Waker with the little fairy dancing around. Like, I love the Zelda series. I grew up on it, but like that shift in art style, so drastic, killed the game for me. I stopped playing them altogether.
I couldn't play Wind Waker. I was just like, no.
And I'm sorry, going from adult Link with a nice shield and Master Sword being a badass to this little tyke with the wand and he's flinging it around. No.
And I feel bad for Bijou Demon.
Why is that?
He bought the entire Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Why is that a bad thing?
They were terrible.
Nick, I will take Navi any day over Wind Waker and the No Fairy with the wand. Any day. Just saying. I can deal with the hey listen all day. Yeah.
Microsoft's gotten a lot of flack over its treatment of games and gamers and the industry because people think they don't really give a shit. And at this past GDC, I think it was that, Phil Spencer, who is now the head of Xbox, the Xbox division, had more than a few things to say about all that stuff when he sat down. These are actually some pretty interesting questions. But during his talk, his keynote, Spencer openly admitted that Microsoft had lost its way when it came to PC gaming, and he's trying to put it back on track. Now, he says in this interview, and what I'll do is I'll shoot you guys the link for it, so you can either check this out as we go along or read it later at your leisure. But there you go. He said, for us, we think about all that a game developer thinks about, whether developing for either Windows or console, and how do we make it more commonality for them rather than less, so that they can really think about what their game is, what their engagement loop is, and how they want to sell their games, how they want to monetize their games. For us, thinking about all the steps of it and input, the dongle is, if you want to be a controller based, We want to make it easier so you don't have to think about what controller you'll use on a PC. They already own the Xbox controller, so they can move back and forth. Same controller from a consumer standpoint. Great. My controller now works on another device. I think that's cool. Same thing with DirectX work and Xbox Live work and the Universal App work. It's really trying to create a single platform that developers can adopt and allows them to reach the broadest set of consumers possible. And by the way, Karada, the other day we were talking about Xbox and the move to having one platform. And you said your main concern was the fact of the ability to push updates. Makes it harder for a PC and Xbox version of the game to play together, because one will be at a higher rate than the other. I'm not sure which talk it was at, but Microsoft, Phil Spencer has said that no, actually it was a game developer. Can't remember who the hell it was though. Anyway, they said that with the Xbox One, developers can now push their own updates. It does not have to go through a whole certification verification process. So updates can be put out for the PC and the Xbox at the same time, and they should hit at the same time.
I'll believe it when I see him do it.
I know you will. Spencer goes on to say, the interviewer asked, I think that's happening even outside of Microsoft too. Great things like Unity, for example, has made it so easy for people to port. I think the fact that the consoles are now x86, I think that's all good stuff, and I'm glad to see that's a big part of Windows 10. Spencer goes on, he says, I want to embrace it, and for the Xbox community, which is obviously critical for me and us as a company, is really just going to turn into even more content that they get to play. Because the indies that are already on PC, if they're building for Windows 10, they're kind of 8-9 steps on the way towards delivering an Xbox One anyway. So it's basically another endpoint that they'll want to deliver to. As an Xbox owner, I want to be able to play as many games as I can. That's where the ID community, and I wanted to bring the blah, 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 blah. They really are trying to bring together the two different gaming communities.
User joined your channel.
You know, so that it's one game platform. And I like that idea. I really, truly do. The idea that, like for example, Smite. If you play Smite on the PC, you get it for the Xbox, you're allowed one copy over of all your game information to the Xbox. Which means you can start off your game on the Xbox version of Smite with the character you've already been playing. You don't have to go through that whole process again, which I think is really, really cool.
Yes,
and I think will help push Smite up again as far as being attractive as a Veg, give me a minute. Do you think that they can see? I know you're on the fence with this, Karida, but do you think Microsoft can bring the community back, like the gaming community back to the Microsoft fold, if you want, for lack of a better term? Do you think that this idea of unifying the platform, so it's one thing, will help do that?
If they can manage it and actually even be able to get the developers to buy into it, they'll still have a long haul up the mountain, as it were. But at least they would stand a little bit of a chance. They're basically going to have to, instead of just saying what they're going to do, they need to do it. We're tired of talk from them. put up or shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, I will say this. I think the developer you might have been talking about is actually potentially the Elite Dangerous one.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
Here's
was.
the thing. Those updates that they're talking about are more of the very minor things, more on the back end. But they have pretty much said that features will be broken between the two. And most likely. So, actual face-to-face play with the two, it's up in the air as to if it'll happen.
Okay, this writer goes on to ask, so the universal app stuff, cross-platform play, cross-buy, would it still work side by side with Steam? This is where it gets interesting, because if anybody remembers, when Windows 8 hit, who came out vocally against Windows 8? Well, actually, there were two, but we're more concerned with just the one.
Steam.
Yeah. Gabe Newell came out and said, we don't want to touch Windows 8 with a 10-foot pole. Now, I said at the time, he's just cutting off his nose to spite his face, because he's a stupid man by going, with that kind of attitude. But apparently, a good 3 months prior to the first preview of Windows 10 hitting, Gabe Newell was at Redmond going over what they're doing with Windows 10 and the Xbox. And we have not heard a word against Windows 10 from Valve, Steam, Gabe Newell at all. So this kind of gives an interesting sort of twist to the answer that Spencer said. Okay? This is what Phil Spencer had to say about that question. I don't want to announce Steam features because that's obviously policy and things that they have. Just like Apple does and everybody else. There's nothing bad about Steam and how they sell their games. I think we should wait until we have a formal statement of, hey, what does Steam want? They've heard our plans because we've been talking to them about them. But in terms of what they're going to allow on their store, I think that's a question you'll have to ask them. We are not trying to say the only way you will get your games is through the Windows Store. Does Steam want to sell Xbox Live games? That's a question for them. Do they want to sell Universal App Windows 10 games? Again, that's something that Steam will have to speak on. I think that's kind of an interesting non-statement.
Well, it's non-committal because again, it's going to be a partnership between them. So you don't want to have him say something and speak on behalf of Gabe Newell and Steam. So but it'd be interesting to see if there's any sort of cross-pollination between them that would make life a lot easier for them, especially.
I think that the statement where was it said, they've heard our plans because we've been talking to them about them. And considering we have not heard another, famous Gabe Newell denouncement for Windows 10, I'm going with the fact that they are actually going to be on board with Windows 10, and quite possibly you could end up seeing a Steam app on the Xbox.
I'll see why not.
Like Steam is in the business of selling games. That's what they're in the business of. And that's why I said when Gabe Newell said that about Windows 8, he was being an idiot cutting off his nose to spite his face. He's still going to sell games. He didn't need to come out and make such a stupid statement. He really didn't. Right? But the fact that we're not hearing anything right now, and they know what Microsoft has been up to, they've been involved in the conversations around Windows 10 and the whole Xbox Live and the unified platform, my gut tells me that Steam's going to be all in on this. They're just figuring out how they're going to do it.
I was gonna say, could you imagine if it no longer is like the Xbox marketplace, especially for games, but it becomes the Steam marketplace integrated into Windows and Xbox and Windows Phone?
Yeah.
Now that would be an awesome partnership. That would be
And there's no reason why that can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
No reason whatsoever. The platform's there now. And I gotta admit, that kind of makes me feel a little tingly over the fact that that could possibly happen. That would alleviate so many problems for gamers. Especially if you buy a game on Xbox and you also own it on the PC. Now, a lot of this will be up to the developers, how they want to handle the cross-buy. Okay, by cross-buy, I mean you buy on one platform, if it's on the other, you have it as well. So basically you get two games for the price of one, right?
Now, there was one thing that I was going to say earlier about Smite. I really do like the fact that they're allowing you to migrate your account information over to the Xbox One, but there's going to be a new problem with that, because now you have two separate progression accounts. So like if you're like level 5 on one character and then you transfer it over and you start playing a character on both, yeah, I know it's about money, but what they could have done is have a single account system where that ties in your levels and have it going between the two. But again,
hey, this is still early days. This is new territory for game developers. The idea of a unified platform for both consoles and PCs. Okay,
well,
it's going to take some time to figure out how it's going to work.
I have a simple solution for them. Have the levels and the account level information on a server as like a back end, as the go-between between the two, where they pull the information from. They don't have to have cross-platform pollination in terms of gameplay. All it needs to do is read the information of how far you've gotten in your progression.
Here's the fun thing. If memory serves correctly, Final Fantasy XI, you could play it on your PlayStation or PC, and you were playing the same servers.
Listen, Microsoft tried this years ago with Counter-Strike. They tried it, and the only reason they stopped doing it was because the console players were getting fucking trounced by the PC players.
But no, that's literally having console players and PC players intermixed. What I'm talking about is having still the two of them segregated, but your account information, your progression on your characters, your account level, all the skins and things you've purchased, to have that as the interconnecting piece. But Xbox One players are still going to play against Xbox One players. PC plays against PC. That stays separate.
Milky Way said, didn't Sony say they were going to have some type of connection to Steam? I have not heard that, Milky Way. I've heard nothing about that.
I thought there was some sort of connection already with the PSN network and Steam. I could be wrong. I don't have a PS3 or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll check up on that. But yeah, so like the if you're interested, there's the link again to the article. It is pretty interesting to read because it gives you a look inside to see what some of the things that they're planning. And this, of course, comes with the caveat if Microsoft can actually pull it off. But I don't know if it's so much Microsoft as if the gamers will be accepting. I think that's going to be the real kicker here. And I think that's one reason why if they can get Steam on board with this idea of the unified, app platform for games, it would go a long way to making it successful with gamers. Because how many gamers, actually, be better to reverse it. Like, how many gamers don't have Steam? It's like if you game at some point and you're on a PC, you've got Steam involved. In your game library management or whatever, because it's really the only one out there right now. While we were speaking of Valve, there was a really interesting post, interesting in the fact that they're actually admitting that they have problems. But Valve has made a statement that vowed to do a better job of walking people through what we're doing. Meaning, I guess, Valve as a company and Steam as, their store. It says, who is this that says, who is talking here? Eric Johnson, business boss for Valve. He says, for a long time, the way we've operated, especially with games like Counter-Strike, Dota, Team Fortress, is by writing software for our customers. Our plan on that has been, let's be as efficient as possible in building features and content. We want all our customers as close to the people who are actually building content as possible. Hence, the missing marketing department. We try to be transparent because there's no point in being otherwise. Customers will always find out what's going on. You can't lie to the internet. But time spent talking to fans is time a programmer isn't writing code, and sometimes the conversation is being left unattended as a result. There definitely does seem to be something we need to be doing a better job of walking people through what we're doing. There is something we've been missing where we need to spend more time explaining things to users. Now, most of us think that Valve is pretty tight-lipped and pretty well in control of what the message they want to put out there, but they obviously don't feel that they're doing a good enough job. Like, what do you think about this? What Johnson had to say?
I'm kind of was oblivious of it all. Like the fact that I'm hearing now that they don't really have a marketing team, well, it's kind of surprising because their marketing team's good at putting sales up, but. They definitely don't have a good marketing front like a lot of other companies do, like Blizzard or EA or anyone else who will say, hey, this is what's coming out and this is what we're doing. So I think it's good that they're trying, but it's also good that they have the devs saying what's coming up. That way there's no marketing speak, there's no back speak, there's no double speaking or misinformation either. Because
you can be guaranteed that no matter what discussion you're having with whatever dev or person at Valve, the one thing you're not going to hear is anything to do with Half-Life 3.
Well, of course. But again, didn't SimCity have this problem where the marketing team said, hey, it's going to involve this, and they were locked into having to do it? I don't know how many games have done that over the years. But the marketing team can sometimes screw over the developers pretty bad.
SimCity. Yeah, they sure can. I just lost my fucking train of thought. God damn.
Getting old, Cranky.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's not go there, okay? I feel older than I already am. We got kind of a neat little bit of a trailer for you guys. Everybody pretty well knows what StarCraft 2 is. And I didn't realize it was as moddable as it is. But apparently, someone has made a mod for StarCraft that turns it into more of a third-person shooter, where you are put into an arena and forced to survive. There are 5 playable classes, 4 playable game modes, 4 different levels. It's extensive. You can play it with 3 other buddies too. Bonus, you can get into Vikings and upgrade them as well. We have a trailer for what this mod is, so let's have a look and have a see what they have to say.
What have they done?
remember, folks, this is StarCraft 2 with a mod.
How did they pull this off?
Okay.
Hire this motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just made the game do something that... Where did that come from? Holy shit.
For those of you that are interested in the link, if you're a StarCraft player, you're interested in the mod, I do believe that's a link to it. You can check it out. You know, if the whole StarCraft game was like this, I'd be in like a shot. Seriously, I would.
Can't this just be a standalone?
Like we've
I'm
said many
glad I already
times.
have the game.
I've said many times, modders are doing some fucking incredible stuff, and it's things like this that just go to prove the amazing job they can do. Like, you're literally turning a game from one concept to another without losing anything in the translation. Like, you don't feel like you're in a separate game. I'm sure that anybody who plays StarCraft would be able to walk into that and feel right at home. And that is pretty impressive to be able to do.
They turned that... I'm like, how the hell did you do this with the engine? What did you do? I know of no way where you get that sort of... can even get that sort of view. Except like the cinematics bit and...
Yeah, Veg is right. This is a true total
Yeah.
conversion. Fuck. Ugh.
Like I said, Blizzard, hire this person.
Yeah,
I know you're not listening,
Yeah.
but you better.
Like, we've seen this. Like, okay, for example, we showed the Morrowind one last night,
Yep.
which totally added a whole new end of the game. I mean, totally new.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be loading that into Skyrim over the weekend to play it.
And that's only one of the thousands upon thousands of mods for Skyrim that seek to fundamentally, like, I know there's one other one that Kid did for as a job application to Bethesda. It was something like 40 hours worth of content as well. How important are modders to games going forward? Can they actually make a game more desirable?
Oh, definitely. I know it's not modding, but Blizzard hired a guy who did machinima at such a great level that they hired him specifically to do their in-game cinematic cutscenes using the in-game engine instead of doing the full CGI stuff. So on the mod level, I'm not sure how many companies have gone to the level of hiring these guys, but even if like say you make an amazing 40-hour Skyrim mod or add-on, who's to say that if you don't get hired in Bethesda, like you can still put that on your resume that you designed this whole 40-hour experience by yourself or with a team or whoever, and market yourself better. So it's at the very least it's good on a resume.
Yeah. I can honestly say I have a game in my library that I bought or that I got solely to play a mod.
What game's that?
I have Half-Life in there that I acquired a copy of it just to play Natural Selection. The first one.
Like I know for a fact that Paradox and Colossal reached out very early to a lot of SimCity modders, looking to encourage them to come and play in their sandbox and use their tools. I don't know how that went over or whatever, but hopefully some of them didn't. But we won't go there. I like to think that modding is part 2 of a game. You got the main part, you got the main course, you got the game. And then if the game developer and publishers allows a good modding framework, then modders become the dessert. They sweeten it all. They make it look better. They make it do things it shouldn't normally do that, excite us or interest us. And I just think going forward, if you are a game developer and you aren't planning your game code to easily incorporate mods, also providing the tools for modders to be able to create those mods, then you're missing you are missing out on a huge market. And by that market, I mean people who will be playing your game beyond its life. Like, look at System Shock 2. Okay? That game, and XCOM is another one. Those games have literally been given a fresh breath of life every time someone releases a major mod for it, and people start going through the other mods, and they discover how great this game is. And I think going forward, like I said, if you're a game developer and this isn't part of your business plan, you're screwing yourself. You're leaving money on the table. Am I pretty right on that, guys, or am I out in...
Yeah, like I said, GSO even said he's got 300 mods for Skyrim or over.
Yeah.
I've got I think I'm floating at about 102 right now after just installing it a couple months ago.
The other thing, though, that game developers also have to do is provide a good user interface to those mods.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of them are absolutely horrendous.
Yep. Doc Steele and I had to walk him through the Terraria mod that I put on, because it is not just like Skyrim where you can just click, add it in, and load it. You have to get 2 separate downloads, unzip the files in, pull up a launcher, do the editing, and then do some sort of workaround to get it to work right. If you don't know how to do it, it's confusing.
Yeah, and you've already just lost somebody from playing the game, period. That's why I say, the developers have to keep in mind a good way for the modders to integrate with the game. And they're equally important, if not more important, providing an easy-to-use mechanism for the user to select and use mods.
Yeah. I remember the original Sims, and I think even with Sims 2, but definitely with the original Sims, it was a pain in the ass to bring in the stuff that people custom made.
Yeah.
Well,
I
those
think
people actually made special apps to be able to allow you to do it.
I think too, though, there was a point where mods were considered almost, dirtying up the original game. I don't mean by players. I mean by the game developers and so on and so forth, who didn't want these mods touching their work of art. So they didn't make it easy. And it was done intentionally. Now I think that has switched right around, where a large majority of game developers are bending over backwards to incorporate modability into their games. But I think the user interface, like for users, is still lagging. I still think that games need to improve on that. Like, it should be drop dead simple. Like in cities, you can literally there's a Steam button that you click on the Steam button, and in game you're taken to the Steam workshop library for cities, and you can download and run the mods that way, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's like seamless.
Tabletop Simulator does exactly the same thing. That surprises you, Karida?
No. I made a mistake and looked at one of the Facebook posts from my friends, and my brain is now broken.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just worried that maybe we broke it.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to count to about 30 before I post this link. Just so that I should probably about... Oh, no. I should be seeing it now. So there you go. Have the link. What the hell?
What the fuck?
Okay. I know where this is coming from already. I see Tosh. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Fuck you, Tosh.0. Fuck you. It's just... Where's my daggers? Where's my sword? Just...
you sure picked a fine thing to end the show on, Karida. I couldn't think of a better way to walk out of tonight's show than a manicorn.
I got one thing to say to you.
Alright, I have to spray out my eyes here.
What?
Hillbilly vampires.
No, and more no. No. But on that note, folks, yes.
I would like to make one more comment.
Okay.
So we were talking about the con man Indiegogo.
Yes.
In the time that we have been talking, they've already gotten another 200,000.
Right on.
Jesus Christ.
Right on. I
And
hope
like
maybe...
in like 5 minutes since I checked it, about another 20 grand.
People want it, man. People want it.
Hey, people are still that Fox.
If I put this project on Indiegogo, I'd probably be lucky if I raised 20 cents in like a month and a half. But that is the end of the show for tonight, folks. I want to thank Red Mage for jumping in for the second half. Thank you, sir. And of course, the beautiful Karida for joining us tonight. Thank you very much, my dear. Again, thank you for helping us break the 500 follower count tonight. That is just fucking awesome. I love it. I get the feeling we might be doing something right. If you haven't followed at this point, and you like what you're seeing, you're enjoying the chat, because this is just as important to us as the show, is for you guys to have a nice, good area to be able to talk with each other. Hit that old follow button if you haven't already. Let us know that we're doing something right, and we'll keep on doing that. I do have one little announcement. I'm not going to give you the whole thing. I'm going to sort of piece it out over the next little while. But I am working on another idea, another show. It'd be a once-a-week show. It's going to be a very unique concept. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. It's just what I got to do right now is basically take care of all the administration shit to get it in place and ready to go. Hopefully it will be ready for the 1st of April. And it won't be an April Fool's joke. Although you might think so watching it, but you never know. So until tomorrow, folks, again at 12 a.m., this is the Cranky Canuck saying thank you for joining us. And this has been Late Night with Cranky and Friends. But remember, the two most important words, folks, the two most important words, game on.
User disconnected from your channel.